Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Johnson.
Well, now after we've heard everything that we could possibly want to hear tonight about all the different ways that the federal government has managed to interrupt our life or try to reapportion our hard-earned dollars, we know that the whole state, and that is when we say state here, we're speaking of the federal government, lives and breathes off only one thing, and that's our sweat and blood and work and risk, and occasionally our successes. Oh, and if you do have success, don't forget you get to pay a double portion to the government for that. How do we take care of this situation? How do we turn in the direction that John was asking for? How do we get ourselves out of this mess? The bottom line is this. I am all day long confronted with different arguments from different people about different subjects. Everybody has a point of view, and by God, it's my right, it's my individual right to have this point of view. And I don't have to agree with you. Well, that's not how it works. We're a representative organization, this United States of America, and it's your job to vote for someone who will vote your point of view, who is this person's point of view, and that person's point of view, and these people's point of view. The key thing that you must do is you gotta know what you're talking about. You gotta control your emotions when somebody lays one into you. You've got to turn when you're discussing the budget, you don't have someone else tell you that the last president really screwed up in Iraq. That's not the budget at the time. Want to talk about that subject? We'll talk about it later. Let's talk about the subject in front of you. Do not get derailed by someone throwing in a curveball at you. Get your people together. 4 is great, right? That's coffee. A group like this is better. Join your thoughts. You have to join your thoughts. You have to take the time to look at one particular subject, establish it. What did we always call the elective platform? You have a platform of different planks. Get that plank known. Just because it's not your favorite doesn't mean that you shouldn't know what's going on. If it's your party, get your planks known. Know the good, know the bad. Because you know what you're going to get hit with. Your opponent is not going to walk up to you and say, boy, you sure did a good job on that. They're not. They're going to walk up to you and say, this is where you're wrong. And you have to be able to take that wrong statement by that person, the wrong-headed thinking that they have at the time, and you have to be able to debate it. You know where that comes from? The word debate comes from school. Did any of you ever go to school? You did. Did you get taught how to debate? I hope you did, because that's what we live for. Our whole political system is debate. Our judicial system is debate. And yet what are we taught to do by our media and everything else? Think for only 3/10 of a second and argue. That's wrong, that's right. There's no such thing. Because we are all soulful individuals who have our own attitudes and directions in our lives. So you have to bring someone to you. Just like the person goes out and finds new members for their church, just like the person goes out and finds new members for the Rotary, whatever it might be, you say, these are our precedents, this is our precedences, these are the things we represent. Yes, we know we've got some issues, let's talk about them, come and join me. If you don't do that, you're all standing here doing exactly what your opponent wants you to do. And that is not get it together. Bring your people to teams. Bring your people together. Argue your point. You don't win by yelling louder than the person next to you and walking out of the room in a huff. All they're going to do is look at you and go, well, so much for that person. You've got to put your points down. You have to build that platform. You have to set yourself some goals. What do we wish to do? We get together, okay, we got an idea. We want to cause something to happen. Well, to cause things to happen, you have to bring all the powers that bear to your side. And to bring those powers to bear to your side, you have to communicate, and communicate often. It doesn't take a speech of 20 minutes in front of somebody to get them on your side. Sometimes it only takes a call a week to say, have you thought about what I mentioned to you? Yes, I have. What did you think? Well, I kind of like the idea, but there's this problem. Oh, I've thought about that too. Have you thought of how this can affect anyone else?